Welcome to the Berman Golf Podcast, where we're helping golfers over the age of 60 increase distance off the tee so that they can hit shorter irons into the green. Yeah, baby. You can visit us at bermangolf.com for more information and get ready. This is going to be a fun one. And we're rolling, baby. Rolling. The Long Balls Golf Podcast. Dr. Jake Berman here with my co-host,
Jan Cermak.
What is happening, everybody? It feels like it's been forever, but it's only been a couple of weeks. This is our first attempt at recording a podcast virtually. We're doing this through Zoom, so hopefully the audio comes out okay. Jan is up in North Carolina doing his MBA. University of North Carolina, go Tar Heels.
Yeah, we're having a pretty good year right now. I'm pretty stoked.
All 2 games?
No, in football, we're 8-1 right now. Yeah, and then in basketball, yeah, we just started. So looking forward to this season and hopefully going all the way this year. I know my whole family on my wife's side, they're all Canes. So there's a lot of hatred within the family right now.
Oh my gosh. The U. It's so bad.
Exactly. Yeah, but they get pumped when we play with them and against them. So we're going to play against them twice this year. So we'll see how that goes.
So yeah, that's great. I really hope that this audio works out because we got some really good content coming out today. We are going back to the basics, the fundamentals. We never, ever want to overlook the fundamentals because it's most important. I was listening to some podcast, or I forget who it was, but it was talking about Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant, and he goes, the first 10 minutes of every single practice, Kobe Bryant practice the chest pass. So we're talking about basketball, a simple chest pass. You got the ball in your chest and you're throwing it with both hands to somebody else. It's a chest pass. It's one of the most fundamental elementary drills in basketball, period. It's something that you learn at 5 years old, how to do a chest pass. And Kobe Bryant, arguably one of the greatest basketball players that has ever walked this earth, spent every single first 10 minutes of every single practice practicing the chest pass. Now, you would think after winning championship after championship and the elite status that he's been in or was in, that he wouldn't have to practice the chest pass anymore. But no, it always comes back to the fundamentals. You must master the fundamentals. So that's what we want to talk to you about today, right?
Yeah, going also into that, like, I don't know if you knew this, but he was very famous about his practice routine starting at 3 a.m. So he separated his practice routine to 4 blocks a day. He compounded hours, so he was ahead of people by years. Within a year, he would train like 1 or 2 years worth of practice compared to the rest. And he focused always on his shooting style, like the way his wrist would bow and the way he would release the ball, which is a great part of the fundamentals of shooting the ball. And you would think that after like 10 years in the league, winning like 3 championships back to back with Shaquille, he would actually not need to practice any of that. But he was very adamant about his extension and the fundamentals of how he would shoot the ball. And that's something he would always practice.
Pretty admirable, isn't it? Just to think that you would think that after getting so many rings and so many wins and so many accomplishments that you would say, I don't need to practice this basic elementary fundamental drill anymore. But no, that's why he was as good as he was. That's why Michael Jordan is as good or was as good as he was, is because he always focused on the fundamentals. Peyton Manning's the same way. There was another story that I heard of Peyton Manning where he put it very simply. He goes, the game is only 3.5 hours long. So every Sunday, the game is only 3.5 hours long. But he practiced over 40 hours a week for a 3.5 hour long game. Think about that. A round of golf is 4 hours long. How many hours a week are we practicing for that game? 40 hours? No, that the pros are doing that. That's why we can't ever compare ourselves to the pros, because the pros are doing that. They're practicing 40, 50, 60 hours a week for that 4-hour round of golf. But we need to put it all into perspective that you've got to put the time in and practice the fundamentals over and over again if you want any chance at all at success.
Yeah, something also that Tim Grover was both Michael Jordan's and then Kobe Bryant's coach, their performance coach, and he always spoke about the quality of their practice, not only the amount of practice, but also the quality. Because to be able to master anything, you need 10,000 hours of dedicated work. The problem is that some people apply those 10,000 hours on the wrong things. You want to be able to apply your time to the right things and be able to compound hours doing the right exercises. And I think that being also very aware of what you're practicing and what you're incorporating into your swing is also going to create long-lasting effects, positive effects on your game.
I love it. So to say what you just said very simply, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Exactly. So you better make sure you're practicing perfectly if you want to be perfect, because practice does make permanent. Just make sure you're practicing perfectly.
In the words of Tim, he would always say, like, you need to be, you can read in his book, Relentless, you want to be very, very careful of who you listen to, and you want to be very, very careful of what things you incorporate into your game.
I love it. We're just going back and forth on things that people have said, but I got to roll with this one because you said you got to be very careful of people you listen to. This is more of an inspirational thing where I was listening to, who was it? Shark Tank guy, Damon John. And he goes, never listen to somebody that you wouldn't take advice from, because as you are working on things, you're going to start getting better and better and better. And then somebody's going to try to say something. You're going to have a naysayer. You're going to have somebody that says, you don't need to work on this drill. You don't need to work on getting your core and glutes working. You just need to work on this speed drill over here. You need to do that. But how is their drives doing? How's their golf game going? So how Damon John put it was, he goes, as I was starting to get more and more successful, the haters kept coming out more and more. And he goes, one day somebody was trying to tell me something, and he goes, I just turned around and looked at him and I said, aren't you a crackhead? So the point of it is, never listen to somebody that you wouldn't take advice from. So you got to be very careful of who you're listening to. All these false prophets out there on YouTube saying that do this golf drill, do that golf drill, and it's going to give you an extra 10, 20, 30 yards. Okay, how's their golf game going? Where's the success at? Where's their client success stories? Who's the people that they've worked with? What is the success rate? Is it 1 out of 10 people that do get the success, which is the most common thing that you'll see with all these golf gadgets out there, is usually a 10 to 20% success rate versus what we're doing. What's our success rate?
100.
100%.
It's funny that you say that, because like talking about like false prophets, like I wouldn't say this is magazines are false prophets because they like to give more like open-ended advice. But I was going through Golf Digest the other day, and there was this article called like, if you want another 20 yards, then copy this move from Victor Hovland. Victor Hovland is 22 or 23 years old. He's one of the highest ranking new professionals on tour. He's winning almost every year, and he is an absolute animal. Like, this guy is built like a bodybuilder, and he's incredibly fast. So going back to your point about being careful to who you listen to, me as a 34-year-old, and then our clients are 60-year-olds, how in the world are we going to be able to copy a move from Victor Hovland? How? Explain to me. My wife, she's a professional certified Pilates instructor, and she has a lot of clients, especially in the 60-year-old range. And she decided to give me a Pilates class the other day.
So
she starts working. Yeah, she starts working with me, and she goes like, your hips are completely locked in. You don't have any upper torso mobility. He's like, you have the body of a 6-year-old. Like, we have to get you back in shape. So when I'm aware of this, that I don't have the hip mobility or the lower back mobility, upper back mobility that I used to have in my 20s when I used to play pro, like, how am I going to copy Victor Hovland's swing? How? It's impossible. And then if you translate that into our 60, 50, 60, and 70-year-olds, it's even going to be harder for them. So I think that what you're saying is spot on. You have to be very careful about what you read. You have to be very careful about the information you take in, because it could be detrimental towards your health and your golf game.
Exactly. And there's no better time than right now to say these words. We can't ever say these words enough. Don't try to copy the pros. Just don't. You can't do it. Nobody can do it. They're pros for a reason. They are the best in the world. That's why they're on TV. You cannot copy what they do. You just can't. You are not the best in the world. They are the best in the world. So you should not be trying to copy what they're doing. You shouldn't.
I mean, you don't have a nutritionist, a sports coach, physical therapist, golf swing coach, and so on and so forth. Like, you don't have a whole team or entourage around you that is like building you up. So there's really no point in comparing yourself to them. It's apples to oranges.
Yep. Good. So let's get into some good tactical stuff. We got a lot of great tactical content to talk about today after we got done ranting there for 10 minutes. Let's get into some good stuff.
Do you want to go first into like the fundamentals of how to set your body up for success? Meaning, how do you energize yourself? How do you keep your energy up during the round? And which is very important. And some people don't really take it into consideration. But if you maintain your energy, you'll be able to play good golf throughout your 18 holes.
Yes, this is something that blows my mind. I've played with a lot of golfers and a lot of different golf courses in a lot of different towns and states. And there's just a number one consistency amongst them all. None of them, no matter what time of year we're playing, drinks enough water. Like, it just blows my mind, especially in the summertime. Down here in Naples in the summertime, it is brutal. I mean, it is low 90s, which is not bad, but it's 100% humidity. So as soon as you walk out to the driving range to warm up before your round, you're already drenched. And nobody drinks enough water. You were a victim of this when we went and played.
I'm terrible at drinking water.
When we went out and played, you started off great. You hit the ground running the first 3, 4, 5 holes. And then sure enough, once we got to number 6, number 7, you started slowing down, and we got to number 11, I think it was. And you're like, I don't know that I'm going to make it.
When the heat starts hitting you from below, from the side, from the other side, from above, like you're getting hit with all this like heat waves, you start losing it a little bit. And I think that being able to hydrate efficiently is something that I've never been able to do very well, and it's definitely not helped me be a better golf player.
Right. So what I'm talking about with your experience, that's an extreme. Most golfers don't experience that, especially if you're golfing 2 to 3 to 4 times a week. You're in quote unquote golf shape. So you're not going to have the effects that you experienced that day that we went out in the middle of the summer. However, with that said, it doesn't matter if it's 50 degrees out, you're not sweating at all. You still need to get in enough water. And everybody asks me the question, how much is enough water? So let's start off at a normal day. So you're not outside golfing, just a normal day in the AC. Should be trying to get in somewhere between 100 to 130 ounces of water a day. If you're a male, if you're, that could be arguably different for a female, but you should generally be trying to get in somewhere between 100 to 130 ounces of water a day. That's a gallon. You should be trying to drink a gallon of water a day. Now, every time somebody hears that, they go, hell no, absolutely not. I'd be pissing every 10 minutes. Yeah, you will be for the first couple of days that you try to do this. However, your body acclimates to it, and it gets to the point to where you're not going to the bathroom every 10 minutes. And the reason why this is so important, just a little side note, this is my wife's specialty, because I asked her the same thing. If you go back to caveman days, there's no way in hell that they were drinking a gallon of water a day. Why do we have to drink a gallon of water? And she goes, our diet is completely different. Specifically, the amount of sodium that we take in all of our food. All of our food has so much sodium in it that we've got to get in an excessive amount of water to help dilute it. And if we don't, then our electrolytes are all out of whack, and our body is just not running optimally. So the number one thing that could help your golf game out tremendously without doing any drills or anything is drinking enough water. So this is what I would recommend everybody do is before you even start a round, I don't care if it's a 7 a.m. tee off, a 12 p.m. tee off, or twilight tee off. It doesn't matter what time it is. Take 16 ounces of room temperature water, not cold water, but room temperature water, and just pound it before you even walk to the driving range, before you ever even get on the first tee box. Just put 16 ounces of water down before you even start anything. It'll take you no more than 30 to 60 seconds if you just get it all out of the way at once. And there you're starting off better than you've ever started because you're starting at a higher hydration standpoint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I always heard that hydration happens before the actual sport.
Yes. Yes.
So it's important to be very, very adamant about intaking the right amount of water, or, like whatever it is that you're drinking, to be able to counter-arrest anything that potentially could be happening later down the road.
Yeah. So here's a perfect example of that. I love that. Hydration occurs before the sport ever occurs. So the opening game for the University of Florida this season was against Utah. The Utes came all the way from Utah to play the Gators in the Swamp September 5th or whatever that Saturday was. So the opening game, they traveled. And what was the number one issue that they had finishing that game? They went from this high altitude, low humidity climate in Utah, and they came to the Swamp where it was still 88 degrees. Even though it was a 7:00 game, it was still 88 degrees outside with a 95% humidity. What's the number one issue that their players were having?
Dehydration.
Yeah, they were cramping. They're seizing up. They're cramping. There was a video of a scene of one of the players actually puking in the first quarter because he couldn't get in enough fluids, because they did not get in enough fluids the week prior to the game. You can't, once you're already dehydrated, the game's over. You can't just say, okay, I'm dehydrated, because you were a prime example of this. You were dehydrated when we played that game that day, and you tried drinking your way out of it and you couldn't. Your round was over. You could not perform. I mean, we just messed around for the last 4 holes of the game. It's like, screw it. Let's have some fun. Let's just knock it around. Let's play some games.
Let's try to finish.
Let's try to finish.
God forbid the card is in malfunction. I had to walk. I would probably die out there.
So hydration, pound 16 ounces of water before you even start a round. And then here's the biggest thing that I do is I bring a 32 ounce tumbler with me. So it's one of those Yeti cups, and I fill that thing up, minimal ice, because again, the colder the water, the harder it is to drink it fast, because you want to keep drinking throughout the round. So I try to get in at least 64 ounces of water throughout the round. So 32 ounces on the front 9, 32 ounces on the back 9. And I'll tell you what, since I started doing that at the end of a round, I feel great. Like, it's like, okay, let's go do another 9. Prior to that, it's like, oh my gosh, just get me into the 19th hole and let's just relax.
Now, I have a question for you, Jake, regarding, because I've seen the difference. So I used to go play out golf, play 9, go get some food at the turn, and then continue playing. And I noticed that every 3 or 4 holes, my energy would go down, and I would not be able to play at the level that I played at the start. So what I started doing, I started bringing snacks onto the course. I started bringing cashews, almonds. I started bringing a couple power bars, protein bars. And I'll start eating them periodically throughout the round. So every 2 holes, I would eat some nuts. Every 3 holes, I would eat a power bar. And that really helped me maintain my energy and really helped me maintain my golf game. So that changed my perspective. I don't know why exactly. I know probably why all this is happening, but maybe you can explain to our viewers or our listeners why it's so important to also eat on the course.
The biggest reason is because of blood sugar instability. So this plays all into the way that your body is able to perform. And you saw me when we went out, I had almost a Publix bag full of snacks and sandwiches that I brought with me, because I'm pounding, what are they? The honey roasted peanuts, Sometimes I'll bring those peanut butter crackers, even though that they're horrible for you, but it's just giving me enough energy to get through it. A lot of protein bars. I'll go through 3, if not 4 protein bars through a round, and
Yeah.
at least one sandwich. So the sandwich is always somewhere around the turn, but I'm constantly eating, because what happens is once your blood sugar drops enough, you get kind of shaky and you're not going to be able to stabilize as well as you would if you were not shaky. And it's very subtle. A lot of people don't even realize that it's happening to them. But that's what happens, or that's one of the main causes of inconsistency. I think you saw it happen to me a few times that we played, where I'll have 2 or 3 or 4 good holes in a row. And then all of a sudden it's like, where did that triple come from? And you asked me a couple of times, you're like, dude, are you okay? Like, are you still in the game? And what was my answer? Do you remember what my answer was?
Yeah, refresh my memory there. But I'm guessing like
blood sugar drop. Just give me a
Yeah.
minute. I didn't keep up with my snacks.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I've noticed some of your dips, and it's always around the when we need a Sammy, when we need a sandwich in us, you know.
where's the cart girl at?
We gotta get them Sammys.
Give me
But,
a sandwich or 14 beers, one of the two.
I mean, depends on how bad you're playing. Sounds like 14 beers sounds like the perfect plan.
I saw a meme yesterday on Facebook, and it wasn't a meme, it's actually a video on TikTok, and it was a cart girl. And she was saying, I just tried to get these guys, or I just asked these guys if they wanted some drinks. And the one guy goes, no, I really want to work on my golf game today. And what I wanted to say back to him was, really? You just triple bogeyed that hole.
He's just trying to impress the cart girl. Oh my God, dude. That's funny.
All right. We've been talking for a while on this stuff. I don't know if we want to keep rolling with this or wrap things up now and get to the stuff that you want to talk about on the next episode.
What I wanted to really go into now is all the complementary things that will help your game improve. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that will not happen at the range or during your golf round, which basically entail you going to the gym, practicing your swing in the gym, doing your golf drills, your golf routines, and also the mental side, which is very important too. How do you accept the bad shots, play with the good shots, and how do you really use your mind as a shield to block out all these like really negative and not worthy information that is out there and focus on the good stuff and really keep at the good stuff, which is very important. So those are some of the few things I would like to talk about next episode for sure.
Okay, let's do that. Those are definitely some good tidbits of knowledge there. So I guess in summary today, the biggest thing I want everybody to take away from this is 16 ounces of room temperature water before you start a round. That's the biggest thing. And then if you want to take it to the next level, bring out a tumbler, a 32 ounce tumbler, 32 ounce cup, and fill that thing up. And the reason why I like a 32 ounce cup versus taking those 16 ounce styrofoam cups is because I know exactly how much water I'm getting and how much water I need to. Let me say this differently. If I fill up that 32 ounce cup before we tee off, that water better be gone by the turn. Like, it better be gone. Usually it is, but there are days where I get to the turn, I'm like, oh man, it's not gone. And what do? I slam it real quick so I can fill it back up again so I can get through another 32 ounces on the back nine. So those are two really big takeaway messages. And then the third one is you got to bring food. There's so many people that go straight to the tee box, skip breakfast and have a coffee and the cigar or whatever it is. You got to eat some food. So get in a good breakfast, protein, not just freaking oatmeal and peanut butter toast. That's carbs and sugars.
And don't load up on bacon, because you won't. By the third hole, you'll be feeling that bacon inside of
you. So protein, eggs are good. Sandwiches are good. Nice protein and carb combination there. And make sure you're getting in enough protein throughout a round. So take at least 2 protein bars. You better be eating 1 protein bar on the front nine and 1 protein bar on the back nine. And the icing on the cake is a sandwich or a wrap, something protein wise.
You want to bring those healthy fats in there with you.
Yep, on the turn.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Back to the fundamentals. And next time we'll pick up with the basic things that you need to be doing away from the golf course.
Exactly.
Sound good?
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in this week. For more information, please go to bermangolf.com. That's B as in boy, ERMAN, bermangolf.com, and check out a ton of stuff that we have there. Or even better, go to our socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We're even on TikTok. Check us out everywhere. We've got tons of content going out every week. And please give us a thumbs up. Comment on the videos. Let me know what your questions are. Try to shoot holes in this. I'll do whatever I can to help you out the best that I can. Thank you, guys.